Halifax game, Denis. I'm sure you were pleased to go in at 18-0 at half-time in a game that you'd really dominated in all the fundamental ways. Do you feel it could have been a bit more, with a bit more cutting edge there?
I think, but you take away the credit that you got to give the way that Halifax played. I think they showed a lot of great determination and desire. They're one of the form teams going into this competition at the moment. When you look at what they've done and how well they played against Hull KR, they beat Hull KR last game. They got a result against Toulouse in Toulouse. They've had to really fight and get themselves in form to come into this competition. You know, you're going to get, every time we've played them, they've got some good structures. A lot of their players know our players, and it's always been a tough game because it's had that little bit of a carrot for them. I thought we went about our business really well. Like you say, a little bit of less edginess and not so much cutting edge. If we weren't as edgy, there was probably 3 chances to score tries that we should have taken. But at 18-0, they never looked like scoring. We dominated field position. Our percentage of the ball was high. The penalty count was not average between both sides. We were both on 2 and 3, so it wasn't a massive thing on the penalty count, but our completion rate was in the 90s. 18-0 looked like a really sound foot base to push the second half. I think that's what we did. They scored them 2 quick tries in the second half for what we'd done in the first half. I felt the intercept then gave them a little bit of life. I think it just sparked them up a touch, which you're always going to get. You're always going to get at some point in the game. They hadn't had it in the first half. I think got a little bit of spark back in them, and we made some changes, and those changes didn't give us the life I expected us to. And we just sort of sat there and waited for a minute, and they scored 2 pretty scabby tries, if I'm honest. It's like I say, the crossfield kick and bouncing the ball all over and just come out the other side of it. And the intercept is, that's 32-0. But that's the way, I think it was a real good read from Ian.
During that little period they had where they got the 2 tries, they had a couple of opportunities, and I thought Stephen Marsh in particular, I think on at least 2 occasions, came up with a couple of great defensive plays for you.
Yeah. I think he did some good stuff. I think he was disappointed with his time on the ball. I think out of all our back 5, Steph was more disappointed with his own game with the ball, but defensively, yeah, he was pretty solid. And I think he saved Chris Bridges' backside twice with a couple of reads. Real good read on Tyra, especially, and it was still only I think it was only still 6-0 then, so I don't know whether that would have given us a spark to kick us back in again. But it was, like I say, defensively we had to do some work. And they say they've got some Super League players in their side. I think the young halfback was pretty dangerous, and coming across the lad who just asked a lot of questions, good footwork, bouncing around. Having watched the game, we played really well. We were comfortable for our win. The last 2 tries again came on the back of all the pressure we put in the game, and just getting back to some fundamentals.
You've said before what a sort of question of nerve to some degree this competition is. Now that you've got that win and a handy win as well, is that a little bit of a calming thing now that you can sort of go into this competition a bit more?
Yeah, I think we'd probably hope for a little bit of a change in us this Sunday, a little bit of more arrogance in ourselves. I know it's a strange word to throw out there, like say, and we just need to be a little bit cockier. We're a really good Super League side, and we've started to find, like I say, I've been able to pick. And I did this weekend again. I'm probably going to have a choice of the similar kind of 19-20 blokes, which is it just hasn't happened for 9 months, and that's a nice place to be in. So yeah, and I've got a couple of lads that are looking to get back in the side later in the month as well. Aaron Jeremiah's looking really good, so is Christine. So hopefully they'll be pushing and we can hold our squad together as well into that last month and make the competition even tougher for us.
Featherstone's result at London, I haven't seen the game, but that's a respectable result, especially if you saw London the week before at Catalan. And what I did watch, because it was on telly, the Featherstone League game the week before, and I thought Featherstone had a lot to offer on attack against Lee, and perhaps were a bit unlucky to lose the way they did, so they've got some threat in this team.
They've got, again, there's a lot of ex-Super League players that have got that 1 or 2 good games in them again. They've got a little bit about them. Like I said, Thackeray played his, good half-back, and he's dangerous with the ball, he's quick. Richard Moore, and Sam Brooks is playing there now, so he'll have something to come out and prove. They've got a decent couple of back rowers. they're a really solid championship side. And like I say, they're pumping above the weight in these things because they've got nothing to lose. And we've got to go out there and we've got to be, I say, fearless in our approach and know that do the things that we want to do, play with the attitude we want to play with, and we'll come away with a good win.
A similar start would be the key, wouldn't it? You've got to be ruthless against these teams, haven't you, and set your marker down early.
Yeah, and that, again, we're not talking about it being like a massive game plan or some strategic way of going about playing championship sides. You've got to put them into an uncomfortable place, like completing high and kicking the ball well, and all the little things that you'd expect to do in a Super League game. You have to do really well against the championship side because that energy comes from opportunities. If you give them opportunities and you're a little bit off defensively because you think that you're playing against a side who's not full time, then you get burnt. And that's the driver for us is our attitude.
You've already said that you can pick something similar to the squad as last week. Is anyone in danger of forcing their way into that side? Are you just on the periphery there you think might get a gig?
Yeah, I think Danny Walker's been pretty close again over the last few weeks. Just giving us something out of dummy half and just, like I said, just that little bit of cockiness and a desire to play. So he's been training really well and been up and around the team. I think Greg Burke's been, again, he's just been on the 18, 19 man pushing himself, but just not been in the side at the moment. Opportunity for him. Alex Gerrard comes back from a 2-game suspension. So those are the lads that are now back in the mix out there, like that, out of the 19. Both Greg and Danny Walker. And Alex now comes into that mix as well.
Is it easy to keep the players' concentration focused solely on their own games then? Because in this little competition, there's a temptation to look at all the other results, isn't there, and think, what does this do and what does that do? Do the players just focus on winning?
We're focused on winning. Well, you can't. This is, like I say, to take away Twitter or Facebook or, like I said, it used to be newspapers, take away the news, it's like, you can't do that. They're going to read stuff, they're going to see stuff. They're in groups of players or people connected to other clubs that, I think it's WhatsApp groups and this and that there's loads of banter flying around, little things that are going on between all the clubs. So if I'm saying that our focus is solely on our job and what goes on anywhere else, I'd be lying, because everybody's looking around themselves and everybody's reading it. We have got conversations, we've got an understanding that what's important, but to take the outside world away from them, it means probably chopping their arms off and poking their eyes out.
You described last week's game as a must-win, Dennis. That was an away game against the Halifax side that was going really well. This is double must-win, isn't it? You can't lose at home to championship sides in this competition.
Well, I think those kind of lines are there for a press conference and press. It's like every week we want to win. Every week is important. And at this moment in time, we need 5 wins. I think 5 wins gets you into the top 3. Mm-hmm. That's our aim. Our aim is 5 wins. This is another one of those games where we're at home, playing championship side. It's a win game for us.